What if I told you there was once a powerful civilization that thrived in Italy before the rise of Rome? A civilization that influenced art, politics, and religion across the Mediterranean, yet today we barely remember their name. Meet the Etruscans, an ancient and mysterious people whose legacy still shapes our world, even if we don't realize it. In today's video, we're diving into the history of the Etruscans, who they were, how they lived, and why they're lesser known than their more famous neighbors, the Greeks and the Romans. By the end, you might just see ancient Italy in a whole new light. The Etruscans were an ancient civilization that flourished in the region we now call Tuscany, from around the 9th century BCE until they were absorbed by the Roman Empire in the 1st century BCE. But unlike the Romans and Greeks, who left behind massive literary works and historical records, we don't have many written documents from the Etruscans. We don't have Etruscan versions of the Iliad, the Odyssey, or the Aeneid. Without written literature, much of Etruscan life has been lost to time. Their language is one of the reasons they've remained so mysterious. The Etruscan language doesn't belong to the same Indo-European family as Greek or Latin, and while we can read many Etruscan inscriptions, we still don't understand much of the language itself. This language barrier means we rely heavily on second-hand accounts, mostly from the Romans, who were often biased in their descriptions of Etruscan culture. Another reason they are lesser known is that the Romans eventually conquered Etruria. Roman historians often wrote about the Etruscans as a people who were either decadent or barbaric, which may have contributed to their diminished reputation. Rome's conquest led to the gradual absorption of Etruscan culture and society into Roman life, blurring their unique identity. In fact, by the time Rome was at its peak, much of what was originally Etruscan had been repurposed or adapted into Roman culture. This meant that over the centuries, people began to think of many Etruscan contributions, especially in art, architecture, and religion, as Roman. But the Etruscans had a unique identity and way of life. They were renowned for their vibrant art, particularly their funerary art. Etruscan tombs, like the famous Tomb of the Leopards, are decorated with lively frescoes depicting banquets, music, and dancing, giving us a glimpse into their joyful and social view of the afterlife. The Etruscans were skilled craftsmen. They produced intricate jewelry, pottery, and bronze works that reflected both local styles and influences from across the Mediterranean, particularly Greece and the Near East. Etruscan artisans were so highly regarded that their work was sought after even by the Greeks. Religion played a significant role in Etruscan life. They practiced a complex system of divination, interpreting the will of the gods through rituals that involved examining animal organs or watching the flight of birds. The Romans actually adopted this practice of augury, a testament to the Etruscans' influence on Roman religion. Despite their unique identity, the Etruscans had a lot in common with their Greek and Roman neighbors. For instance, they shared similar architectural styles. Etruscan temples, with their high platforms and elaborate decorations, were heavily inspired by Greek architecture, but with distinct regional adaptations. Roman temples later borrowed from this Etruscan-Greek fusion, which laid the foundation for the architectural styles we now recognize as Roman. City planning is another example. The Etruscans were pioneers in city organization, using a grid layout for their towns, a concept that the Romans would eventually adopt and expand across their vast empire. Politically, the Etruscans were organized in city-states much like the Greeks. Each Etruscan city-state operated independently, ruled by a king or, later, by powerful elites. They even formed loose alliances with one another, although this decentralized system eventually made it difficult for them to resist the rising power of Rome. The Etruscans may have been absorbed into the Roman world, but their influence didn't disappear. Many of Rome's most iconic traditions were inherited from the Etruscans. For example, the toga, a quintessential Roman garment, was originally Etruscan. The Romans also adopted Etruscan religious practices and gods, blending them into their own growing pantheon. And let's not forget the alphabet. The Etruscans were among the first to adopt and adapt the Greek alphabet in Italy. This Etruscan version of the alphabet would ultimately evolve into the Latin script we use today. So every time you write in a language that uses the Latin alphabet, you're indirectly paying homage to the Etruscans. The Etruscans may be lesser known, but their contributions have echoed through time, leaving their mark on the world even as their civilization faded into history. Through the Romans, the Etruscan legacy survived, shaping everything from architecture to religion to the alphabet. So next time you think of ancient Italy, remember the Etruscans, the mysterious people who paved the way for the mighty Roman Empire. Perhaps one day, we'll uncover more of their secrets and understand even better how this fascinating civilization helped shape the course of history. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what subject we should explore next. Thanks for stopping by Timely Tales. Let's dive into history one story at a time.